Hi, it's Kendall from Carnivore with Kendall. Welcome back to my channel. Most people think that traveling on Carnivore is impossible, but I've done it. And I'm here today to share with you my top travel tips for maintaining a carnivore lifestyle whilst on vacation. These are going to include some of my favorite holidays, from cruises, international travel, hotel and motel stays, and camping and glamping. So stay tuned, like and subscribe for more carnivore lifestyle videos. On our beautiful honeymoon, and we've had a week on a houseboat. And now we're staying at a beautiful little pub in a place called Marlow, where we're going to fish, and yeah, we're staying here. It's a really cute little pub. So how we're getting around our carnivore journey at the moment is we've been lucky enough to have a little bar fridge, and we've actually caught some beautiful fresh fish, and we've actually bought steaks with us from home, which we've frozen, and we've kept them frozen with us along the way while we've been on the houseboat, which is lucky because it had a proper freezer and a fridge. But here we've got just a little baby fridge. So we've been and bought some butter, which we've used during the week. So I've got my butter in here so we can use butter. And my husband came up with a great idea. He bought a little camp stove. So we're actually cooking our meat on a camp stove just outside the door of the hotel, which is great. So we've got our nice healthy porterhouse steaks, we've got some fish, and I'll show you what else. Our little bar fridge in here, we have some cheese, we've got a little bit of blue cheese which we bought during the week, a couple of cheeses. We bought a little bit of cabana, which is like processed meat, just to snack on. We've got a little bit more steak in here and some fish and some mineral water and some water. And that's how we're getting around, trying to stay really strict with our eating. We did go out for dinner on our last night in town, and it was a Chinese restaurant, which is lovely, and we haven't eaten there since being carnivore. And we did order salt and pepper squid and salt and pepper chicken wings and salt and pepper something else, and it came out all battered. So I'll put the photo down. Really is worth, when you're eating out, to ask them, even though salt and pepper to us means, you know, just salt and pepper and butter or probably oil. It came out thick batter. Everything was battered. So we ended up just cutting off all the batter and just eating the inside. So today back onto just cooking our steak and having our fish, and this morning we had some burgers. We used up our burgers that we've been having on the houseboat with eggs. We've bought plenty of eggs here as well, which is great. They said carnivore in Thailand was impossible. But for our 50th birthdays, we proved you can celebrate without wrecking your health. No noodles, no rice, no fruit, just meat, movement and deep sleep. Grilled pork at the markets, eggs and bacon in the morning, seafood at night. It wasn't hard, just took commitment. Was I tempted? Sure, but turning 50 mattered more than a pad thai. Carnivore didn't limit me, it gave me freedom, even on vacation. Turning 50 never felt so good. Cheers to meat and making your own rules. I've just popped away for a couple of days just to have a little mini break. We're in a little country town sort of where there's beautiful water and fishing and lakes and what we love to do. So we're actually just staying in a hotel, and it's only a couple of nights, but I wanted to talk about eating out. And unless you really have a plan before you go out, it can, one, be really expensive, and two, so not satisfying when you eat. I was Googling things in the car on the way up. It's, you know, a 4-hour drive, and found another little cute sort of winery, rustic winery lunch place which we went to, and I just really highly advise you look at the menus if you can before you go. So every time I look something up now, I will Google the menu. So if you can do that or ring them and ask, it saves a lot of headache. So we had gummy shark, which was meant to be battered, and it had some sides and things on it. And we just said, could we have it cooked in butter and, you know, no batter, which was great. And the chef was just working on his own. It was a little place. He was quite fine with that, but they were only, you know, little tiny pieces of meat. So we had that. And we also ordered a serve of halloumi cheese, which was also cooked in, I think it might have even been cooked in oil. It was beautiful, but it wasn't really enough food, not for carnivores anyway. So there's going to be times that happens. And I also advise, if you can, wherever you're staying, and I've said this before, if there's a little kitchen, or this place has got like an actual sink, it's just a small motel room with a couple of beds, but it's got a separate bathroom, and it's got a separate sink with a toaster and a kettle and a microwave, and a little bar fridge, but you can fit in. We went and bought some cheeses on the way up. We went and bought beautiful Italian cabana, or like salami. We also bought eggs, so I've got plenty of eggs, and we bought our own couple of steaks, and I made some patties and froze them all the night before, and we brought them for breakfast. Our, you know, our brekkies or our brunches, and then we've got at least 1 to 2 dinners. Some leftovers, and I bring tins of sardines, I bring salt, and we bring our thermometer and some butter and some animal fat. If you can bring that stuff with you, we only needed a little bag, like a little cooler bag. You can at least get by most of the time eating your own food, and it saves you, 1, a ton of money, 2, you're eating really well and you feel really good. And then you can, if you've got that place you can go to for that 1 special night or 2 special nights or whatever it may be, do your research and find the right place. So we're in a small town, as I said, and last night we just decided to go to a place for dinner as well. We were being a bit indulgent. They didn't have a menu, this one, that's right. We didn't know the menu. Could see some photos, and they had oysters and crab and a few other things, but they didn't have a specific, really, I think, a breakdown of the menu. So no, we didn't actually see it. So we took a punt, we went in there, we had a look on the window on the outside before we went in, and we hadn't made a booking, and we went in, and it was one of the best meals we've ever had in the last 6 months on Carnivore. Let's just get the steak, because they actually had a beautiful steak. So we had 1 each, and doing my head in, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, so I've just gone blank. Beautiful steaks, and it was fatty. And we said to the lady, look, we can't have any oils. We can't eat oils. Can it please be cooked in butter? She came back and she said, is it okay if it's garlic butter? And I said, yeah, garlic butter will be great. So it came back, these beautiful big steaks, and they were just beautiful. So garlic butter, no sides. We said we didn't want any sides, thank you, but no sides. And when we finished, we were so satisfied. When we paid, the guy that originally helped us, who was so lovely, and he knew that we were carnivores, and he said, we've taken $16 off for the sides because you guys didn't have any sides. And I thought, wow, what service, you know, and that doesn't happen, that's never happened. So they actually took off the sides as well. So you might get lucky, you might get places that are not going to charge you for the sides. I look forward to hopefully hearing some of your stories and how you guys go when you're going out. I just wanted to share it with you because it was so fresh in our minds of how good it was, and how you can ask for things too, because I know sometimes you feel funny to ask, but I don't think it hurts to say, look, I'm allergic to oils, and could you please cook it in butter or some sort of animal fat? They're in a kitchen. Generally, I think it should be pretty easy to do. And it was divine. So it was beautiful. So a really great experience. Hi guys, how are you? It's Kendall from Carnivore with Kendall. Today I'm here on an amazing birthday weekend at some glamping. You can probably see our little tent set up behind us. And I wanted to get on here and have a chat about being carnivore and traveling and doing fun things like going on holidays. And where we're staying, we are supplied with a beautiful continental breakfast. And it's always good to check before you arrive at your destination where you're staying to find out exactly what's included with the food, because obviously when we're carnivore we want to make sure we've got what we need for our meals. And we did that. I actually called the gentleman that runs the business here and had a chat to him, and the food was going to be, you know, peaches and fruit and local produce and pastries and things like that. And obviously that's not what we really wanted to eat. So he was so accommodating and offered to go and purchase what we needed for breakfast, which was some bacon, some eggs, some sausages. And so he's gone and bought all that for us. So now we've got our own breakfast we can cook in the morning. And we also, for our dinners, we decided to go to a beautiful local butcher in town. And we've been in there and purchased some beautiful ribeye steak, and we've also got a few tomahawk steaks and just divine meat. So I've been in there and bought our own steaks, which are beautiful, and we're cooking them on our barbecue at our beautiful glamping sites. So we've got the most beautiful quality local meat, and having beautiful nutrient dense meals and not having to purchase them from a pub or something like that, where you're not going to be able to get them cooked as you wish necessarily, and you're paying a lot more for them. So perfect. We're really super excited. It's beautiful here. It's autumn, but it is really cool. We're up in the alpine air, so it's very crisp air, but having a wonderful time. So just wanted to give you guys a couple of tips about going away and traveling, and I'll share some footage with you of where we are. It's stunning, and I hope you're all well, and would love to hear your experiences about going away and being carnivore. Today I am going to talk about being a carnivore and going on a cruise ship holiday. So my husband and I just returned from a holiday on a cruise ship. It was a 5-day cruise with our 2 children. So we've both been carnivore and quite strict carnivore for 1.5 years. So my kids aren't carnivore. So we were a little bit curious to see how we were going to go on this cruise as carnivores. So we decide when we go away, we are a little bit more relaxed with our eating. So we still stick to the carnivore principles of eating proteins and, you know, just drinking mainly water and having as much animal fat as possible. We don't eat veggies and we don't eat fruits and we don't do any of that. However, we do let ourselves have maybe an occasional drink or a cocktail or a coffee and sometimes a dessert. So that's what we both have decided that we will do, especially after 1.5 years of being strict carnivore. So my first top tip for you, if you're going to go on a cruise as a carnivore, is decide, are you going to be strict? Are you going to be a little bit flexible? And you need to work that out before you go so that you know you're getting on that boat and you're going to know what your sort of boundaries are going to be. And that was the next one. Set some boundaries. Okay, I'm only going to limit myself to 1 or 2 drinks a day, maybe a coffee a couple of times, whatever is going to work for you, where you're not going to throw yourself under the bus and totally go off the wagon. So have that in mind, and keeping some continuity and some maybe routine that you normally do as well helps. Like I wanted to keep my water up, I wanted to keep some exercise in, and I wanted to sleep well. So you want to also understand when we're on a cruise, as you can imagine, there is so many choices for food, and the food is available pretty much 24/7. We all know what it's like getting on a cruise. So it's very easy to just go, oh, there's a few cookies there, and there's always something to eat. So having those boundaries is important, but also understanding that the food is prepared probably as cheaply as possible. So the cooking of meats and things like that is done in cheaper non-animal oils. So they're in seed oils, so probably canola and sunflower oil and all those sort of cheap oils, maybe olive oil if you're lucky. So you've got to understand that you have to be aware that you're probably not going to be eating that carnivore way, and the food isn't going to be cooked the carnivore way. You can ask. So my husband and I went to a fancy restaurant one night, which is where we paid to go. It was an amazing restaurant. And we did ask them. We said, look, can we have our steaks cooked in butter and with extra butter on the side? They were very obliging. It was amazing. But when you're eating day to day, and there's usually some sort of food court or buffet style eating, and then there's some restaurants that are free where they bring the food up to you to the table, generally they're going to be prepared in the quickest way possible using the cheapest sort of way to cook the food. Now we did ask for our bacon, and I asked for my bacon and sausages to be cooked in butter, and the gentleman was lovely, and he said, look, we can do it for you, it's just going to take longer because they've got to send the food back from the table back down, and it takes a little longer for them to do it because it's already sort of pre-prepared in bulk. And we were traveling with our children, so I didn't want them to be sitting at the table waiting for us to get our food. So in that way, we just accepted it and we just did the best we could. I found butter and added butter to my food if I needed to, and that was how we dealt with that. But you certainly could, if you were traveling alone or with other carnivores, you could definitely ask and have your food probably prepared at least in butter, so it's not in the seed oils. My other tip is to be active. Try and be active. Cruises can be you can do as little or as much as you want. The weather on our cruise was a little bit cooler. It wasn't cold, but it wasn't swimming and out in the sun every day. So there were people sitting around and looking at their phones and playing games and playing bingo, which was fun. We did a lot of those things too. But I like to get out and move. I go a bit crazy. So if you can, get out and move around. Do a walk every day. Find the deck where you can walk around the whole deck. There's usually a gym there. Even though I was having a rest week officially from working out, I still was waking up at 5:30, and I still managed to go to the gym a couple of times for fun, did some rowing. We did a workout with my daughter who came with me. So keep yourself active, keeps you feeling good mentally and physically, and probably keep your water intake up as well, especially if you are having a little treat here and there. It'll keep you feeling good. And then my other tip is when you get home, get straight back on the bandwagon, eat super well, get back to carnivore or your carnivore habits, and you'll be feeling great again in no time. So would love to hear any of your tips and tricks if you've been on cruises as a carnivore. If you want to see what happened after traveling carnivore, check out my latest update right here. And if you're new, hit subscribe so you don't miss my next update.